All right, so Alexander done. Let's talk about Kiritsugu or Emiya Assassin. This is Kiritsugu from a different timeline that had nothing to do with Holy Grail Wars. Apparently, I would say it's probably closer to Witch on the the timeline he comes from is probably closer to Witch on the Holy Night and or Tsukihime. Like they kind of don't fully explain that, I don't think. But I do know he's from a timeline where he never met Iris Steel, and that's the whole point of Excel Zero. Or that was the main divergence in that timeline. Base attack just under 9k, so we're already at a good point. HP is low, but he's also like very bursty. And before he was super bursty, now he is just like burst damage, not burst turns. If it makes sense, it's like he's not trying to one turn enemies. He's now like it's just good, maintaining that same level of damage. If anything, it actually gets higher, but it's like nothing's going away in one turn. That's what I'm trying to say. So very good chance he's gonna stay alive for all of what he needs to. He's also arts, so keeping him alive isn't hard at all. You use Castoria, and then if he dies, it's your fault. Star weight 97, star gen 25.6%. So good quick cards. They're not super amazing in terms of star gen, but they are still fairly good. The way they did his MP, it is a 15 hit. If they gave 15 hits to 0.46, he would have been refunding his MP without any problems whatsoever. Thankfully, they made it so only his MP has this 0.28%. It makes it so his face cards are not entirely gimped, because 2-hit arts cards at 0.28%, he would only be refunding off MP. Like this would be a bit abysmal tied together. Even still, the 0.46% with this, it's not great. It's only made up for the fact that he's supposed to be critting on the cards, and he has his arts buff. First skill is what got buffed. It was a one-turn mana burst of 40%. They made it 3 turns and kept the 40%, so better than a standard 3-turn arts buff. Much better than the standard one. And now every time he removes a buff, and this is before damage, he gets an attack buff of 15%. So, this is something I'm glad I did not record, because in the original recording, I said it was only arts cards could remove the buffs. No, it is now all of his cards. So this buff actually is far better than I actually thought it was. Because before I thought, okay, so he needs to pop his MP 3 times in 3 turns, and then he also needs his arts cards. Not the case anymore. Now his face cards can remove it easily, doesn't matter the card type, and obviously his MP. But the thing about Kiritsugu is, there is no, is always going to remove the buff. You don't have to worry about him removing Invul first, because that's where this comes in, the latest buff. You might think, oh shit, if I can't, I'm just wasting attacks at some point because he can't break the. No, he has Invul Pierce for 3 turns. Not even the 1 turn, he has it for 3 turns. So, no matter what, you're not stopping him from doing damage, and he's taking your buffs before you do damage. So if your defensive buffs are first, but your invul is last, yeah, say goodbye to those defense ups, because the enemy is losing them and you are hitting very, very hard. Yeah, so you are able to space this out a little bit if you remove, say, because extra attack also counts, so you can remove 4 buffs in 1 turn. The big issue with that is that now that 60% attack is going to fall off after 2 turns. Like, you can't space it out. So that is something you kind of might want to avoid. It kind of just depends on how fast this fight is supposed to be. If it's supposed to be done in 3 turns, it doesn't fucking matter. But if it's supposed to last longer, like say 4 or 5 turns, like the first turn is like a setup, you definitely don't want to be popping this skill first, and if anything, like the enemy having like 2 setup turns only helps Kiritsugu, because that means they're buffing themselves up with removable buffs he can take away, because also for this they have to be removable buffs. 50% crit damage and party debuff res down, except for himself for 3 turns. Yeah, you can't avoid this. Cleanse it or debuff immunity. You're with Castori, so just cleanse it though. Final skill, and kind of the reason why he even got that debuff down. I'm pretty sure it's so that this... No, I don't think this would be counting as a debuff if you're putting on the ally. Like the enemy puts a debuff on you, I think you can cleanse it. But I think taunt is also its own different thing, similar to guts, where it's like it kind of depends whether it's treated as a buff or a debuff. I think I do think taunt is like weird like that it kind of depends on application whether it's a buff or debuff, even though it's the same effect. I would have to check in the code, because like you don't get taunts on ally skills that often, and most of the time it's for the ally themselves. It's like Kiritsugu and Shengang where you can put a taunt on somewhere else. But also 15 stars. It would help if he had star weight, but he doesn't. Passive skills: star gen 10.5%, crit damage 10%. Depends. Skill reloading, mana loading. Only if he's a crit servant, and even then I would still get these 2 first. And extra damage against Avengers. I'm gonna remind you, it would be really, really funny if it was alter egos. But the thing is, Kiritsugu came out like 6 years before Kotomine. And I don't think they're giving Kotomine anti-assassin, because that's too effective for him. Already talked about the MP, got buffed a very long time ago. Defense Pierce, and this is only for the MP. What was it? Shang Yu got Defense Pierce for the turn. This is Defense Pierce for the MP. So, again, going back to that scenario where the enemy is involved and has Defense Pierce, as long as that invul is not first, you can strip that defense down and your face cards can do damage. If the defense up is before the invul, yeah, those face cards kind of just have to suffer. But also in that case, yeah, no, it's kind of it's a situation thing. I can't really give you advice on that, because like what card you do if blah 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 blah, like you can't do that in a video. I literally can't say every combination that you should do in this situation. Only thing I can say is play the game yourself, try and see what works. Yeah, Defense Pierce on the MP does not last spread to the face cards, guaranteed drain, scaling, and a very, very weak crit chance down. However, he's supposed to be spamming the shit out of this. And also, base number is bad, but it's basically you're adding the base number every overcharge. Unlike others that are like, okay, it starts at 20 and then OC5 is at 40. So you only get 5% difference. There is a massive difference between crit chance when it's 10% to 50. Because this is not even crit damage. This is crit chance. The enemy is not landing any crits on you at that point. It's over. Mats, they're bad. I hate these mats with a fucking passion. These are the worst mats that you ever want to see on a character. So getting Kiritsugu up, get ready to go to the mines. You're farming for some bones. You're farming for proofs. These not so bad, although Foreign God Hearts. Everyone in the year one needed these. Everyone. So is what it is. Bonsi, quick up, arts up while he's on the field, and that's it. Another good, like, permanent buff. Wait. Have all of these are permanents. I just realized that all of these are permanents. So, 1 second. Before I close out this video, who here is permanent? That's a 5-star. They're not buffing Karna again. Enkidu. Lartoria. Bradamante. I don't think they're gonna buff her again. Ain't no way. Or Ritra. Okay. Out of the permanent 5-stars, I'd say Vitra is most likely to actually get a buff. Just because, like, if this buff is all permanents, then it probably is Vitra. It's either Vitra or Enkidu, and Vitra hasn't gotten a buff yet. All right, that is it for Kiritsugu. Time for Steno, and then I can start streaming. Peace. Thank you for making it to the end of this video. If you enjoyed, drop a like or sub. Hope to see you in the next one. Peace.